Hello, good morning and welcome back to the Fish Locker out on the boat. We have got a lovely morning this morning. There's still a little bit of residual swell. I don't know if you can see it. Anybody that's into the meteorology will be able to tell you by looking at the clouds in the sky. It's windy and it's cold at the minute. We've had a bit of bad weather. That's where this residual swells come from. You can also tell we've had bad weather as well by the amount of big tankers that are all kind of hunkered in, right tight in close in the bay. Yeah, they've been sheltering for the past week. Gorgeous sunrise. Yeah, all I'm going to do today, hopefully, this swell, fingers crossed, shouldn't make too much of a difference to us today. We're going to do a little bit of lure fishing and maybe some live bait fishing over a reef. Then depending what happens in the afternoon, might put the anchor down. That's the plan. It's nice to have one, but whether or not we can stick to it is another matter. We're just out to enjoy a bit of a mixed day's fishing. Let's go. Oh, perfect live bait size. Yeah, what drew me to this spot as I was steaming along was I just saw all the birds. You do find quite often that the jigs and the spinners do pick out the better fish. Oop. Yeah, the jigs and the spinners do pick out the better fish. We'll see if we can't pick out maybe another 3 or 4 live baits and then we'll head straight to the reef. I always like to have bait before I get there. Down here in Cornwall we do seem to get our better mackerel fishing in the autumn and the winter. Three lovely joeys there. Well, that's bait taken care of. Let's get down to the reef. All I've got is a large sliding float, a locked in lead, a hook length of fluoro, a circle hook and a little joey. And we're going to run adrift over the reef. God, this boat does not want to sit true today. No matter which way I try and position the boat, always going to swing round to the sun's facing. Okay, so the wind is overpowering the tide at the minute. Only got really small tides today. You see that float go down, please let me know. First fish is a little pollock. I have been doing really well lately on the little tiny spinners. All the bait fish that's around is little tiny sprats that are like that big. So it makes sense that little tiny lures would work too. It does mean you catch a lot more of the smaller fish. The larger lures generally pick out the better fish. When you're setting your float, I set them at varying depths throughout the day depending where I find the fish are. All you want to make sure is if you are in an area of reef where it goes all the way from like 40 feet up to 10 feet, you don't set your float any deeper than 10 feet. Don't set your float any deeper than the shallowest point of where you're fishing. Otherwise it'll snag the bottom and you'll lose it. That's disappointing. I've just switched to a new type of jig, a little tiny needle jig. First time I've used it, dropped straight down, and as soon as I got to the bottom, bang, fish on. Anyway, it's only got really fine hooks on it, and I've popped it off. Now, a little tiny 20-gram needle jig. Just seeing if I can't pick the little finicky fish out. Oh, there's a fish. Female cuckoo wrasse hooked under the chin. I'm going to carry on this drift for maybe another 50 yards. I'm going to go and try another reef, and I'm going to fish live baits down near the bottom. Of course, if the drift's this slow, we might even be able to sneak out a John Dory. It feels like a wrasse. I'm in a slightly deeper spot now, so I've switched to a slow jig. And I think it's caught me a wrasse. Yeah. Tell you what, she went for it as well. It's a decent sized slow jig. Female cuckoo wrasse. Fishing in 32 metres of water. Because of this little bit of east wind, instead of being able to run a drift up and down like this, like I was wanting to from the coast, it's just cutting me in sideways. So I'm having to do shorter drifts. So I've gone out to deeper water to drift in towards the coast. Just means that I'm deeper at one end and shallower on the other rather than being able to run right along it. Slow jigs are really effective when the tide's slack. Small tides, or when the tide is at like high water slack or low water slack, is when I usually fish my slow jigs. Pick up all sorts on them. Fish them down near the bottom. So you go for cod, ling, John Dories, wrasse, that. You also catch bass and pollock on them. I'm thinking this is a big ballan wrasse because it hit hard and it ran for the bottom. Yep. Ballan wrasse on a slow jig again. It's good fun catching wrasse. It's better catching them on a slow jig than on a soft plastic, because the soft plastics, they just chew them to pieces. Oh, that's actually a little coley. Right, easy tiger. A little coal fish on the jig. What I'm going to have to do is I'm going to give it another half an hour until the tide turns. Then we'll think of something else to do. Because this is not working. It's a fine line, isn't it? between sticking something out long enough and then realising that it's not working. You'd be stubborn sticking it all day, still catching out. But you need to stick at it long enough to be able to give it its chance. That was lucky. I got caught in a piece of kelp, pulled it out by hand, and as soon as it popped out, a fish took it. Yeah, as suspected. A very nice one though. The cracking ballon wrasse, that one. He's a lovely one. Great big rubber lips on him. Just gonna say, yeah, I don't know, I'd give him maybe a 4 for that dive. There's too much splash. Oh. Yeah, he got caught in a piece of kelp, managed to pull it out by hand, and as soon as I popped it out, a fish took it. Sun's going in for a piece. This is a good patch of ground, this. I know it's a good patch of ground. I've had bass, pollock, cod, John Dory's, I've had all sorts on here before. And it is just not fishing today. Frustrating. Should be picking things up. These are perfect tides to try and target John Dory's. They aren't an easy thing to catch. I mean, I had a really long-standing love-hate relationship with them. Just couldn't catch one. And then I went out and I gave it a dedicated effort and I caught 3 in one session. Now these conditions here should be perfect for them. Right time of year, right ground, I know because I've had them here before. Right tides. Just not catching anything. Because we're drifting really, really slowly. We are going at 0.3, 0.4. Yeah, very slow. What I'm trying to do is I'll put a live bait right down near the bottom and I've got one out on the float. And I'm going to keep flicking around that little tiny spinner. Just because we're dropping right onto slack water. In half an hour's time, when the tide turns and goes back the other way, we'll go and put the anchor down somewhere. Yep, the little spinner's managed to find the pollock again. That's the problem that I was having in the deeper water. In the deeper water, I was needing a bigger lure to get to the bottom. And the fish weren't taking the bigger lures. Fish this little tiny lure and I can't tell when I'm at the bottom. And it might not even reach it. Now that actually, on top of splashing my glasses all over the place, that is actually a very big male cuckoo wrasse. That's a big one, that. Got some stunning colours on them. Come on, out you come. Now when they attack a jig like this, they aren't so much attacking it to eat it, it's a territorial thing. Yeah, he's a beauty. Don't do it, don't do it. He's a stunner, that one. That'll do. Let's go and put the anchor down. Well, all my live baits just kept getting eaten by cuttlefish. So I've come and put the anchor down. The anchor's been down 10 minutes. Yeah, the anchor's been down 10 minutes. And the first fish of the boat is a baby small-eyed ray. That really is a little cutie, isn't it? Probably about a pound. I'll get that bait cast back out and then I'll show you the rigs. All I'm doing is I'm just fishing the exact same lure setups as I was before. A locked in lead, probably 2.5 feet of fluoro. I think this is 30-pound fluoro with a 2-0 hook and some strips of little mackerel that were my live baits but are now dead baits. That's it, nothing complicated at all. I've just cast them out to different areas around the boat. Just cast them out to different areas around the boat so they don't all get tangled up. I've got wind and tide going in that direction. And I'm hoping to pick out some rays. I'm going to sit down and have a sandwich as well. Literally just finished the last bite of my sandwich. We have a bite on this rod here. Usually they wait until I get the food in my mouth. The bite that I'm getting from this doesn't look like a ray bite. Unfortunately, it looks like a dogfish bite. Oh no, it's a ray. Well, it might be a ray. It's changed its mind now. Yeah, that's a ray. Yeah, that's not a dogfish. I've got a camera on the seabed to try and show you what's going on down there. I'm hoping this doesn't get wrapped up in it. If there's any interesting footage, I'll put it in here.
Unfortunately, the first fish I hooked did manage to get all fouled up in the line and snarled everything up. This ray on the bottom was actually a different fish. Yep, and that's the camera view blocks. Well done, John.
Oh, it's fighting really weird, this one. There's a possibility that it might be wrapped up, that it might be coming in backwards. Oh no, we're up and moving about in the water now. But yeah, usually they run about, like they'll kite about. That one just ran straight under the boat and then just ducked to stay there. As it's got wrapped up with the camera. That's why it's acting weird. Tell you what, that's a proper one, that one. That's a proper one. I don't know if you can see that there, but it has a very large saltwater leech stuck on it. Hey, look. That there is a scar from a saltwater leech as well, look. Yeah, they don't do them any favours at all, them leeches. Not only do they feed on them, but also every single time they bite one, it leaves a site for an infection. So every time I catch them, I try and take them leeches off. Yeah, part of the reason why that made such a mess was when it come underneath the boat, it went around the line that's got the underwater camera on. So yeah, fingers crossed it hasn't messed that up. I'll get our ray sorted out, we'll have one last look and then we'll let it go.
Sadly, like I said earlier, it did mess up the camera shot. But just in the corner of the frame, we do see a few gurnards coming and going. And typically, there is the John Dory I was talking about earlier. And gently sliding into this shot is a juvenile blonde ray.
There we go, hook's out. Now this is a small-eyed ray, also called a painted ray. It's a female. You can see because there are no claspers on here. She is heavily laden. I imagine she's probably got purses inside of her. Let's get her back real quick. Yeah, I thought that fight was quite weird. Quite often what they'll do is they'll kite out in the tide and you'll see them go left and right. Or like the fight is like dun dun dun, and it's as their wings flap. Yeah, that explains why that was a weird fight. Fish really are hard to come by today. And I don't know if you can tell, but it's going to start to rain as well. It makes me smile sometimes when people say in the videos, say, oh yeah, it's always lovely and sunny and flat calm down where you are and there's loads of fish, it's really easy. It's like, it's not. It's not. The fact is, I spend more time at sea than a seagull. That's why it looks that way. I'll swap these baits out. What I've been doing is I've been rotating the baits. Like, I cast that one out first, then that one, then that one, then that one. And after that one's had 15 minutes, I'll bring it in and change it, and then change it, and change it, and change it. So what's really frustrating sometimes is when you're really in after like 20 minutes and there's no bait left at all. You think, well, how long's that empty hook been sat there for? So yeah. So I'll bring the baits in, and if after 15 minutes, if there's still loads of bait left, next time I'll give it 20 minutes. Oh! Just literally turned around, turned camera off, and Rod was going. Yeah, rod tip was arched right of it. Rod nearly disappeared. If you saw where I had the rod, what I'd done was I'd left it propped up at the side of the boat, but I took the butt, I took this part down in next to the seat. And the line was out that way. So if a fish takes it, it's going to pull it that way. If I hadn't have done that, that fish would have had that rod over the side. A little backwards ray. Another little small-eyed ray, and another little female. But yeah, that one, that rod, I'd had it like this white one is here. I'd run it up next to the seat and all it did was just go whoosh. Don't turn your back on them, because these rays will have them away. sort myself out. I'll give these baits 5 more minutes and then we might go somewhere else. Found another one. Tell you what, this is a heavy one. Go on, up you come, girl. Tell you what, if I hadn't seen the bite on that, you would swear that was a snag, wouldn't you? All I'm doing is holding sustained pressure on it. Now look, you let the bend in the rod fight the fish. Because as long as the rod's bent, the fish is having to exert energy to stay down there. I didn't have to go mad. If I'd have gone mad and tried to drag it out, I would have just ended up snapping the hook length. Snapping the hook length or pulling the hook. All I did instead was I just held pressure, kept the rod bent, and just kept it coming. This does feel like a good one. It might be coming in backwards as well, which is making it harder. This one really did put up a good account of itself. Ugh. Another stunning female small-eyed ray. Yeah, all I did there was I just kind of said, right, well, while I'm tidying down, I'll let them baits fish out. Glad I did. Oh, another stunner. They're a good weight, these, they'll be. It won't be £10, but it'll be, well, maybe. It'll be easy 8. It's been a difficult day's fishing so far. Yeah, I've really had to work for fish that I've caught. I'm going to go and try somewhere else. The place where I'm going to be going to, I won't know if it's going to be fishable until I get there. Fingers crossed, you'll see me there. That last rod. Now this seems to be scrapping too hard to be a ray. Oh, it's the first dogfish. It wouldn't have been a session if I hadn't got a dogfish, would it? Let's go. It's rainy and it's miserable and I'm going home. I hope you enjoyed joining me. All the very best. See you later.